So, in a bit of interesting news today, there's a rumor that famed director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, King Kong, and the Hobbit trilogy, as well as plenty of other movies, Peter Jackson, is possibly looking into working on a DC film. Now, there's also another rumor that with Amazon looking to make a 5 film or 5 season TV series based off Lord of the Rings, that Peter Jackson might be involved with that as well. But let's take a step away from that. My thoughts are, you know what? Let's let him go ahead and try something in the DC universe. I think the DC universe could definitely use something in their favor because right now, let's admit it, the DC universe sucks. Um, I was not a fan of Man of Steel. I thought it was a very poor movie. In fact, I wasn't even a fan of Superman Returns. I thought it was just uh, a sequel that was 25 years too late. Uh, the Batman, the Dark Knight series with Christopher Nolan, I could take it or leave it. They're okay. They're serviceable movies. And then Wonder Woman, I actually enjoyed for a bit, but I have to admit there's some pretty hokey parts there in the middle and in the end. But I'll leave that for another day when I do a full-fledged review on Wonder Woman, maybe in the near future. But Green Lantern was awful. And then let's not even talk about the travesty that was Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, or the crap fest that was Justice League. Uh, there just hasn't been any really knock out of the park DC movies. Um, and, as much as I hate to say it, it's really sad where something like Wonder Woman is considered the best one. Because even then, if I were to give it a grade, was pretty much, I would give it a B, if for lack of anything else. But when we have seen for the past 10 years, um, Marvel just, and I won't say every single movie was absolutely perfect, but we've had quite a few A's, some B's, and even a B minus and C plus there. And unfortunately, I will keep going to say that Avengers: Infinity War is just the best thing out there, and even then, that's not perfect. So, what can DC do to make it better? And you know what? I think Peter Jackson could do something here. Now, I will leave it to say that we need to have the Peter Jackson that worked on the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and not the Hobbit trilogy because those are totally different Peter Jackson attempts there. When you watch, I remember when I saw the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I had not read the books, so I was totally clueless on the storyline there. But it was obvious that this was a labor of love, and that this was somebody who was taking the time and energy to do it right. And every time I watch it now, I mean, you can just see it every single time. And these were excellent, well done movies. Unfortunately, with the Hobbit movies, you can tell this was somebody who, for lack of a better term, was either A, kind of lazy or kind of greedy, or maybe a combination of both. It just did not go well. Being, just storylines that didn't make any sense, storylines that, from I had heard, did not even exist. But even, I mean, if you want to go to the CGI, some of it just looked incredibly bad. So I watched all three of them, and in all honesty, I think I've only seen The Hobbit once again, the first one, and then the second one, maybe The Desolation of Smog, maybe one other time. But I did not see the Battle of the Five Armies anymore after the first time in the theaters, and I have really no desire to see those movies. But the Lord of the Rings movies, I've seen those. I can't tell you how many times I did marathons in my living room of all three movies, and I've enjoyed each one of them as much as I have the first time. Actually, the first time I saw the first Lord of the Rings, I was confused, but after it explained to me what was going on, I enjoyed it. But anyway, so we need to have that Peter Jackson doing the DC movies, and then my next question is, which DC character do we have him work on? Do we have him work on Superman? Do we need another Batman series of movies? But I think that's already being worked on by Matt Reeves. I mean, golly, how many Batman movies do we need? That's a rant for another day. So we already have Patty Jenkins working on Wonder Woman, and we already have Matt Reeves working on Batman. So that leaves Peter Jackson to work on Superman. But we've already had the Man of Steel. So do we reboot it? Do we keep it going, or what? And I believe Aquaman is coming out either later this year or next year. So what do we have him work on? Um, I would say possibly maybe a Green Lantern series. Sit down and take some time to do Green Lantern correctly. The original one that came out many years ago with Ryan Reynolds, who does Deadpool now and makes fun of Green Lantern. That was a bad movie, and maybe one day when I rewatch it, I will do a review on that. But it was bad. It was incoherent. It was just bad, just bad. Just take my word for it. It's just bad. But I think if somebody could sit down and do that correctly, you can actually make a decent trilogy, because you have Green Lantern. You can have a movie as Green Lantern learning to be a hero on Earth, and then you can have a movie with him learning to, you know, manifest his powers on Oa, and have a conflict with Sinestro, and then you can actually have him with a bigger fight with Sinestro and the Yellow Rings people. But then, of course, you can even expand it more, because you have all these different colors rings. You have the red rings, you have the black rings, you have the obviously the green and the yellows, but you have all these different colors. I think there's maybe a purple or whatever. I mean, you can almost do if done correctly, you can almost do 4 or 5 movies here, and you could do them well. So, and Peter Jackson can do a trilogy well, if he really wants to sit down and put his mind and heart into it. So, anyway, that is my opinion as far as should Peter Jackson do a DC movie, and which one should he do? So I want to ask you guys out there, what do you think? Should Peter Jackson do a DC movie, or should he stick with Amazon and keep living with Lord of the Rings? And if he does do DC, which character would he be perfect for? Maybe there's other DC characters out there he would be great with. Maybe another Watchmen movie, if people really want to see a blue superhero with no underwear, you know, really. But hey, I digress. Let me know. Post it in the comments below. If you like this particular rant, excuse me, on Peter Jackson and DC, hit that like button. If you want to hear more of my rantings and ravings when it comes to movies, TV, video games, WWE, just about anything else that comes to mind, you can always hit that subscribe button. You can also hit the notification button, as well as follow me on Twitter if you like. Anyway, that's it for me. Anyway, until next time, talk to you guys later. Peace.